The other day, we covered a story about a 22-year-old woman who was the newly wed wife to a U.S. Army soldier who is currently training to deploy. She was brought here as a toddler. That's very important to the story. And her deportation order was placed when she was about 2 years old, also very important. And she was arrested and detained by ICE while trying to get the necessary paperwork and go through all the hoops to be able to live on base or be on base with her husband. And when they arrested and detained and put her in detention, they framed it like this was some illegal immigrant trying to break and enter into a military base. It was one of the most ridiculous statements I've ever seen in my life. But anyways, she's lived in this country for 20 plus years. She's worked here. She's studied here. She didn't break any laws, and she married a U.S. soldier. And this is her reward. Like she was detained while going through the right process. And this article, I think, will mention it. She applied for DACA status in 2020, but because of Trump and his hatred for DACA, it was never reviewed because of like the halt he put on any further applications. So it was never reviewed and never accepted. But if you want to see the full story on that, I have a video I did on it the other day. You can go check that out. Anyways. Good news is she was released. I mean, I hate to say this is good news because it never should have happened in the first place, but here we are. And it's also good news with a catch. You'll see at the end of the article. Wife of American soldier is released from federal immigration detention. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security and Ramos's mother-in-law, Jen Rickling, confirmed her release to the Associated Press. The New York Times first reported Ramos's release. She had lived in the country since she was less than 2 years old. DHS said Ramos had been ordered removed by a federal immigration judge in 2005 after her family had failed to appear for a hearing. She was 22 months old at that time when her family didn't appear. And remember, she was a toddler when she was brought here in the first place. She has lived in this country longer than the country she came from. Like, it's crazy to me how people can just easily wave away people like this who have lives, families, haven't done anything wrong, and just like say, oh yeah, you need to go back to your own country. It's like she's been here since she's a toddler. This is her country, dude. Like, what are we talking about? Ramos and her husband say she had been attempting to gain legal status, including by applying for the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program in 2020, though her application remained stalled amid legal battles to eliminate the program. All I've ever wanted is to live with dignity in the country I have called home since I was a baby, Ramos said in a statement to the AP after her release. I want to finish my degree, continue my education, and serve my community just as my husband serves our country with honor. A spokeswoman for U.S. Senator Mark Kelly, a Democrat from Arizona, said that Kelly had called DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullin regarding Ramos's detention. Blank has family in Arizona. And I imagine that may be a part of the reason why she was actually released. Because obviously they were colleagues in the Senate, and Mark Kelly's one of those Democrats who definitely he has no problem with chumming it up with even the likes of Mark Wayne Mullin. This is a situation where it's probably better that we have Mark Wayne Mullin in charge of DHS as opposed to Kristi Noem, because Kristi Noem probably would have flat out said, go kick rocks. This isn't a defense of Mark Wayne Mullin, by the way. Dude is crazy. But, you know, at least there's a decent result here. Anyways, I'm happy Annie is back with her husband and family where she belongs, Kelly said in a statement. They never should have gone through this painful process, but far too many families like theirs are because of this administration. DHS told the AP that Ramos had been released with a GPS monitor while she undergoes further removal proceedings. She will receive full due process, DHS said. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, you guys really know what due process is over there. But like a GPS monitor, like, God, they treat these people like hardened criminals. Like, this is going to be controversial as hell to say to a lot of people, but she's basically a U.S. citizen. She's been here since she was a baby. It wasn't her choice to be brought over here. It wasn't her choice not to appear in court when she was 22 months old. Like, what are we talking about? She's been in this country longer than where'd she come from? Honduras? She's in Honduras for like less than a year or like a year tops. And then spent the rest of her life in the U.S. not breaking any laws. Not she worked. She's married. She wants to have kids. She's studying to get her degree. They want to start a family. They're quite literally doing what these old school freaking family values Republicans try to push upon people, and she's being punished for it. Ramos said she plans to continue studying biochemistry and focusing on enjoying the married life with her husband. As Matthew continues preparing for his long career in the military, my focus now is on securing my status, continuing my studies, and building our life together. Ramos said, we want to create a home, a future, a family. This experience has been incredibly difficult, but it also reminded me of the power of faith, love, and community. I am hopeful for what comes next. I mean, this shit's heartbreaking, and I need to impress upon you that this isn't some a rare wild case. There are people who have loved ones, maybe not specifically in the military, but there are people who, like human beings, that are experiencing similar situations like this all the time now. People who've lived here for decades, longer than they've ever spent in their home country. Building lives here, starting families, having children, starting getting their career started, obtaining an education. And yeah, people are so easy to wave these people off like, oh, you should have just gotten your paperwork. It's like, yeah, but this administration especially has made that process so difficult that like it's not a feasible way. It hasn't been a feasible way for a while. You can't say do it the right way when the right way doesn't even exist. Okay, like it hardly exists, because we see so many people who are trying to do this the right way that are getting arrested and deported by attending their DHS check-ins to get their green cards, or to even go from a green card to a citizenship. Look at Mosa Madawi. He was lured into an office under the guise of like, hey, we're ready to complete your citizenship process and you can become a U.S. citizen. And they arrested him, and like on no charges. It's crazy. It's so depraved. Like, stop caring so much about people's goddamn paperwork. You know what you should care about? Are they a good person? Are they contributing to our country some way? Are they breaking any laws aside from the crossing the border when they were fucking a toddler? Come on. Now, is this going to be a instance where DHS is going to fight tooth and nail to try and continue to deport them anyways, despite everything she's been trying to do right, despite being married to a U.S. soldier? Like, time will tell. We've seen this play out with Albrega Garcia, Mosa Madawi, Mahmoud Khalil. I mean, we're still seeing those cases play out to this day, and they happened like over a year ago. Anyways, that's all I have for this one. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.